So at the very first end, I got an internship cracked into an unpaid internship basically. I faced a lot of rejections around. I applied for 40 to 50 internships and I got rejected by most of the internships. Freshers are not being hired in MNCs most of the time. They have a minimum requirement of 2 years of experience. When I backed around 5 internships and won over a hackathon in national and state, that what created my profile quite a lot. So there they asked me about my projects that I worked upon and some Python coding as well. For me, the trick or the way that I took was applying for a
Hello, data lovers. So, I am back with another super motivating podcast for all the aspiring data scientists. And in this podcast, I have invited a really talented boy. And despite being from a tier 3 college, he started exploring the data science AI ML domain starting from his first year itself. So that tier 3 college tag actually created lots of difficulties in his journey to become a data scientist. He faced lots of rejections. He did even unpaid internships, but he had never give up attitude. So he kept on moving, faced all the difficulties and rejections, and successfully converted those rejections into a full-time data scientist job with more than 15 lakhs per annum package. So in this podcast, he will be sharing everything with you about his life experience, what challenges he actually faced being a fresher while moving into this data science journey, how he cracked it, how did he get the internship and job opportunities starting from his second year, his strategy, roadmap, everything he will be sharing. So lots of information is waiting for you in this podcast. So make sure you watch it till the very end and make sure to give one like to this podcast for his journey, his challenges and all the failures he has faced. Alright, so thank you so much Sayan for joining me in this podcast, and I'm really excited first of all to have a data scientist with me who is duly graduate. So it would be really great if you can give a short introduction of yourself and anything you want to talk about your academic and professional background.
First of all, thank you, Shashank, for having me here. It was a quite pleasure to be here. I was seeing many of your podcasts quite a year back and all, where all the techies used to come and introduce about themselves. Never thought of myself to be here. So speaking of my educational background, I did my high school from 𝗵𝘗𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, which is in West Bengal. Nextly to that, I shifted to Gwalior for pursuing my BTech in computer science from IPS college, that is in Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. Basically, you can speak the Corona batch of 2018 to 2022.
Talking about the data science journey of yours, so when and how did you start exploring data science domain? What was the inspiration behind it? Because you are a fresh graduate, you cracked this domain, and this is something which would be really inspiring for others as well. So elaborate that part.
So I started my data science domain specifically from second year. I still remember I was trying out with different tech stacks to see if I am finding interest in that domain or if I'm capable in that domain, which mainly the freshers find difficulty whether we should go ahead with Android or web applications, and mainly the new field that is data science. So I also tried, like many of the freshers, the Android web applications, and I found my interest in data science. And mostly my seniors also told that this is a new domain, you can have a spark in it. So I just went ahead and just tried out some computer vision modules just from YouTube, copied it and pasted and saw, yeah, it's great, it's working and like that. So I started with that. And similarly from Google and YouTube to know what exactly the field is, what are the scopes in it, how I can proceed in it. So that's how I began in this domain.
As a college student, what kind of roadmap or skill set did you acquire to become a data scientist? And it would be really great if you can share the step-by-step guide of those skill set along with the important resources you followed.
So as a college student, firstly, it was very confusing to go ahead, as you know that AI domain is quite huge. It has multiple subparts, data science, computer vision, NLP. So it was really confusing for me at the very first instance as well. So the first and foremost thing I will say, went ahead to learn with a language that was Python. That was the most important thing. And in the second year, I started out taking online program as well as offline programs. You can say as a training. So I went ahead with few offline trainings in Jaipur Techinist as well as IIT Delhi. There I went ahead, learned about machine learning, how to write a code in machine learning and all. I started doing random easy projects to know the easy working of neural networks, different CNN and RCNN structures, projects on object detection, segmentation, NLP. And then I just uploaded them on GitHub. GitHub was another new thing to me as a fresher. So many of the people say that you should showcase your project so that people could see you that you're working with this. So that's the other step I took as a freshman in the second year. Now, being a confident into this real-time scenario solving and problems, taking from the YouTube, debugging it into my system, I took my step toward internships. So from the internships, I got an idea of how to prepare, go deep into this more projects, into real-time scenarios. And there was a tough situation because I was getting rejected from multiple people, multiple companies. As being a fresher, I didn't have much scope in it, and it was a tier 3, so there was no such criteria that I will be having a tier 2 company internships. Theoretically, if you talk about, you can go ahead with multiple books actually, but I would prefer you go ahead with YouTube's, because YouTube will make you know how to prepare the module in your system. Specifically AI, while preparing an AI module, you need to prepare a system. That's the first and foremost thing, and then you can run the module in it.
I know many of you are also craving for such kind of wonderful projects, but the sad reality with data engineering and big data, these kind of projects are not available on internet. But there is one platform which can definitely help you, that is Project Pro. I would definitely recommend this platform to all data professional. You should check it out, and also you can get exclusive offers if you use the link given in the description. And why this platform is amazing, because they have created a enriched library of more than 270 plus solve big data projects end to end. You will find two amazing things. First, the recommended projects from the platform itself, and even you can find the projects according to your skill set, which is custom roadmap for you. So let's say we are interested in the big data project. Let's say somebody wants to learn the Hive part. We can click on here. Let me give you a quick demo. So here you will find this project. In this big data project, you will learn how to process data using Apache Spark and Hive. You can see what will be the project outcomes from where you need to consume the data. Here you can even see the complete business overview to understand the entire problem statement, the approach you can follow, how you need to start and where you need to end, the tech stack, and the best part is the neat and clean architecture diagrams, which is definitely very helpful to build these kind of projects. And here you will be able to find the code as well to download the data set, the entire tested fully functional code. So this is a must try thing for each and everyone who want to become data engineer and want to work these kind of realistic projects. Feel free to check out the platform link in the description. So Sayan, you talked about the internships part, and I think this is most important thing to talk right now. So before completing your graduation, you did like couple of paid internships. How did you find these internship opportunities? This is my first question. And what did actually help you to crack these internships? Because data domain is like a field where people have this doubt that it is only for experienced candidates.
So for me, the internships was also a quite tough part. As you know that from a tier 3 grad and qualifying into multiple MNCs where they want tier 2 graduates or students specifically for internships. So it was quite tough for me. I tried over 40 to 50 internships like in Internshala, LinkedIn, and got multiple rejections at the very first instance. So at the very first end, I got an internship cracked into an unpaid internship basically of 3 months. So into that internships, I learned quite a lot over practicality of how to be into that domain, what things I need to learn, how to grow more, what aspects I should cover in my technical projects and all, what topics I should cover more. So prior to that internships, I got the knowledge to back another internship next to it. That was a paid internship, and simultaneously it went on. So when you find a non-tech internship, when you have the knowledge, non-tech in terms, non-unpaid internship, you can nextly switch to a paid internship. That's what I've seen even many of the cases. So when you get a case of paid internship, you can get multiple after that. Okay. So that's how I bagged another 5 internships of paid. And talking about how I went ahead with it is that it's like obviously being a tier 3 student, we need to increase our specular points like your technicality to showcase that yeah, we know more. So in that way we have to bag more and more internship, and for AI domain it is necessary that we need to bag more internships and more experience from the internships. Otherwise it will be tough to bag a full-time job into a data science domain or computer vision domain and NLP domain.
Now you have bagged up 15 LPA plus CTC as a fresher, and that too in data science field. First of all, congratulations, it's a commendable work. So how much you were earning during your internship time, and how did you work on your salary negotiation part during interviews? Because for a fresher going from the smaller amount in the internship to this much of CTC, obviously this is a big deal, man. How did you do that?
So, Shashank, actually, there is a particular point in my whole profile is that I was working as a full time in 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗃. I will tell you how is that when I backed around 5 internships and won over a hackathon in national and state, that what created my profile quite a lot. So then at the starting of my final year only, I tried to qualify for full-time opportunities. So it was 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗃 Private Labs where I gave my interview. So they asked me whether I want to proceed with my internships as an internship. So, but already I had quite a lot of internship. I think 5 to 6 internships were quite a lot for me actually. So I wanted to jump into a full time at that point of time. So I negotiated with an HR and it was actually a referral. Which I got basically wherever I took training, I got one or the other referrals from my seniors or the mentors. So this was also a referral which I got from a mentor that you should sit for the company interview. So they over to the interview that they took. It went quite great and they were satisfied with my answers. It was 3 rounds of interview what I remember. So prior to that, they accepted me as a full-time employee. And it is quite unknowing that company is hiring a student in the final year. That's also a question that everyone asks me. But yeah, it is true that most of the startups, 𝗗𝗃𝗃 was a startup at that point of time. So startups do hire students in their final year and they can work as a full-time. So that's the first thing a student can pursue is that while being in 4th year, they can, if they want to have a real-time experience as a full-time, they can go for startups. So coming to the salary negotiations, as I was speaking of, is that I was getting around 5 to 14K during my internship period for all the 5 internships. When I backed the first internship, it was unpaid. Then coming to second, it was 5K and continuously it went on, grew higher. So at some point when I found the final internships, I was satisfied with it that I should go with the full-time. I negotiated with them with a minimum amount of salary at the very starting because I knew that I was a full-time. I was still not having a complete knowledge into the domain. So I wanted to start as a fresher and I backed there as a 4 LPA package at an 𝗗𝗃𝗃 Private Lab at the very starting.
Share your experience in the comment section, whether you are getting the opportunities and in what kind of companies you are applying. So maybe we can help you if something is not working out for you. So feel free to put it in the comment section. As you mentioned the interview part as well, as a fresher or entry level fresher, what would be that interview process? I don't want you to elaborate it too much. I just want know, okay, what these will be the number of rounds, and in each round this type of questions will be asked to a candidate.
So when I started, when I completed my 𝗗𝗃𝗃 private journey, that is after 1.5 years, I switched to Strave. So it was it's an MNC basically. So for them, they have 3 rounds of interview, L1, L2 and L3. The first round was a technical round. So there they asked me about my projects that I worked upon and some Python coding as well, preliminary DSA, not very quite, it was quite easy. Basically, they focused over my computer vision problems and the NLP part. Second was also a technical part. There also they asked me the query about how to deal with the real-time scenario, basically a scenario problem. And they asked me projects to deal with, like they are facing, how can I increase their accuracy, what modules I can make it happen to increase their accuracy, or how to deal with the scenario. So that was my L2. And coming to the third round, that was the managerial round that they asked whether it's common managerial round which a normal company asked. There will be puzzles for you to solve. For me, there were 2 puzzles actually. And again, finally the manager asked me about my projects, what projects I dealt with, and how long it took, the production based project that I dealt in my 𝗗𝗃𝗃 private lab, as well as the POC based projects. So that's all my interview was about.
Companies don't hire freshers for the data science role. There are no opportunities for them. Like, this is the statement I'll keep on getting from the aspiring data scientist. If I look at your journey, then this statement seems false. So what is your take on this statement? How can a fresher get the right job opportunities for the data science role?
So the question that normally people ask is quite 90% accurate, because this is also a question that was going on my mind while I was in my college. So I tried with multiple companies and rejections were quite a lot. Freshers are not being hired in MNCs most of the time. They have a minimum requirement of 2 years of experience. That's what I've seen even in LinkedIn or in Internshalas when I'm trying. So The point was to apply for startups first. For me, the trick or the way that I took was applying for a startup. There you will gain knowledge, a knowledge that will be an exponential in comparison to an MNC. Can't speak of another companies, but yeah, what I've seen. So that's what step I took. I joined an startup. I learned about. I got an experience, and then I switched to an MNC, where I landed as a data scientist. So that's the way I took out. Maybe if you are experienced enough to join another, there are MNCs which are hiring. I'm not saying, but there are quite a few. Even for me, the this scenario stayed for me. I got rejected for multiple MNCs being for applying a data scientist or computer vision. They always wanted a experienced guy for that. So these situations prevail even in the current market.
What was the most difficult and challenging part of your data science journey? Like, did you feel that you will not be able to make into it? There were any scenario where you felt demotivated?
Absolutely, there were quite a level. I will tell you. I know there are quite a students in tier 3, and in the current market scenario which we are seeing, it's quite a lot. Getting into a data science job, it's quite a growing field or domain in AI. But yeah, the market competition is quite high for students in tier 3 as well. So for me, the facing was in times of internships, as I speak of that time. At that point of time, also I faced a lot of rejections. Around I applied for 40 to 50 internships, and I got rejected by most of the internships, and finally landed over the unpaid. Please make sure that if you're even getting an unpaid into that specific domain, try to join it, because from nothing to have something is better. Like, you have something in your hand, that's quite better. You will learn there. After that, you can switch. Try to join there, have focus here. I know it's an unpaid. For me, it was also a difficult one working for on an unpaid internships. But yeah, it was a great step. Secondly, the rejection again. The another challenge that will come is in times of when you're working for the internship. They will be asking to do jobs which you are not qualified for, but you have to make your time, study about it in the domain. Basically, AI domain is quite vast. You need to upgrade yourself each and every time, which structure, which architecture has came into the market or developed by any developer, which can be used into the scenario. So you have to keep yourself updated. While your internships, the point is that the seniors will give you a lot of work. You have to deal with it. That was also a challenging phase for me into the domain of AI. And thirdly, when I tried for job, that is a full-time job, it was also difficult, as I have a tag of tier 3. So yeah, I have a lot of competitions. And the third was the DSA. DSA was typically tough for me because, frankly speaking, I was never tried for that DSA part that deeply, which I should have done. While going into the AI domain, I went so deep that I needn't give time for a DSA. And I've seen most of the students that who are pursuing in computer vision on NLP, they focus so much into that computer vision domain. Oh, this architecture has came out. This architecture we can use for this project. So you get more knowledge into it, and you start focusing it, and you keep your DSA aside. But yeah, that point comes when it hit you that yeah, we should have learned DSA. Even when I tried for multiple job opportunities, there I got multiple rejections, not one, I will say multiple, just because of the DSA. I got rejected at the very first stage, at the very second stage. My profile was not being seen even after that. Being so much internships, doing a job at my final year, still they rejected me because I couldn't qualify the DSA. So yeah, the DSA was a peak point for me. Even currently, I'm trying to pursue DSA whenever I'm getting time, so as to upgrade myself into that domain. By keeping myself upgrade into the AI domain as well, studying about new architectures, research papers. So we have to keep that thing parallel. If we keep both side up and down, it will cause trouble at the very initial stage, not after that. It will be easy for us. So these are the two challenging part that I faced.
This is great, Sayan, and I can totally relate with your failures and whatever points you mentioned as a college students and entry level freshers. I think most of us definitely go through it, but there are few who are able to cross it and upskill themselves in such a way so that they can land into their dream jobs. That's exactly what you did, and I hope our audience would have enjoyed this entire conversation. I personally found it really inspiring, really motivating, and I'm pretty sure our audience will enjoy it, and they will definitely learn from your inspiring journey. So thank you so much for joining me. It was really wonderful. Thanks from my side and from the entire audience side.
Thank you for having me over this platform.
That's what I had in this podcast. I'm pretty sure you would have enjoyed the life experience shared by Sayan. And if yes, you find it informative, then quickly give a like to this podcast. And if you have any thoughts, you want to share anything about your failures, your challenges, your difficulties, being a fresher, being a working professional, put it down in the comment section. And if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon. I will see you guys in the next week with another amazing podcast. Till then, just keep exploring data.